The first time I met Vince Carter was about 20 years ago in a chocolate factory in Canada. It was a promotional appearance the Raptors had trotted him and Tracy McGrady out for. They both had to wear these white lab coats and some uncomfortable shower cap type things on their heads to stand in an assembly line and pose for pictures. It was so delightfully awkward that I was pretty sure in the moment that it would be one of the most memorable things I would see Vince do. Of course, it turned out to not even be close. Over the last 2 decades, the player dubbed half man, half amazing has proven himself to actually be half man, all amazing. And last night, he showed yet again why. At age 42, Carter walked into Madison Square Garden and hit, 1, 2, 3.
I want to get a hand up.
Boom. Or, 4 three-pointers in a 5-minute span. The fans in the building loved it. NBA Twitter loved it. Here's Knicks beat writer Chris Eisman, quote, "Someday I'll tell my grandchildren about watching Vince Carter. Actually, I'll probably just bring them to a game so they can watch him themselves." And here's Coach David Fizdale after the game.
We've seen Vince Carter play in several iterations.
Well, he retired already. I'm so tired of him.
We've seen him play in several iterations of his career. Do you still learn from watching him and what he's able to do at 42?
I think it's phenomenal. I think it's awesome to see. He gives us 40 pluses, a lot of hope. Obviously, I have a ton of respect for Vince. I had him in Memphis and got to spend a lot of time with him. He's a perennial professional. Those guys are lucky to have him on that team.
I love Coach Fizz, but I'm always amused when I hear anyone say Vince gives old guys hope. I promise, if you are a 40-something rec league player, you have no shot of doing what Vince Carter is doing. Let's be honest, if you are a world-class NBA player, you likely have no shot of doing what Vince Carter is doing, because literally what he's doing, no human being on this earth has ever done before. He is entering his 22nd season, more than Kobe, more than Kareem. Once the calendar flips to January, he will become the first NBA player to play in 4 different decades, which is just mind-blowing. He has also spanned actual multi-family generations. You know how last night Vince squared off against Knicks top draft pick RJ Barrett? Well, Vince used to play with his dad, Rowan, who was in Raptors training camp a couple times and starred on the Canadian national team. After the game, Vince told ESPN's Malika Andrews that he knows the Hawks might not play him in all 82 games this year, but his goal is to be healthy enough to be available for all of them. Which, he played 76 last year, so I feel pretty good about his chances. As has been well documented at this point, Vince is crazy meticulous about all the extra stretching and rehab required to play at this age. On game days, the team's early bus is way too late for him. He takes his own car to the arena so he can get all his pregame work in. But honestly, that's just the mechanics. The truth is, Vince is able to do what he's doing right now because, well, number one, as we saw during the 2000 dunk contest, he possesses an athleticism well beyond nearly any player we have ever seen. This is a man who showed us back then he could actually briefly fly. And oh, by the way, he's still doing 360s and windmill dunks in his 40s. So yeah, it makes sense that of everyone in Vince's draft class, which by the way included both Ty Lue and Nets GM Sean Marks, it's Vince that's still hooping. And then the second reason he's still doing all of this, he's made choices over the past 5 years based on what he actually wanted from this late state in his career, which was to regularly still play basketball instead of being a decoration at the end of someone's bench. That means instead of making those get-me-a-ring championship hopeful free agent choices, Vince has favored young, rebuilding teams that have room to give him minutes. It's the opposite of the approach, say, Carmelo Anthony took in his last 2 stops. And for Vince and the teams he's played for, it's been rewarded tenfold. Now, Vince has said this is his last season. And even though he's told us that here on The Jump for a few years in a row now, this time I actually believe him. He knows that means he'll get some rocking chair type farewell tour moments at arenas around the league. But honestly, what he wants is the kind of ceremony he got last night. Something spontaneous and pure, and as all the way amazing as Vince himself. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.